Hello everyone and welcome to our Samhain Replenish retreat. I'm going to go ahead and get my audio replay or my audio recording started as backup. I always worry about whether or not video is going to successfully record, so I have a backup audio that I get going while I wait for people to join on in. It takes a little bit sometimes for the live to actually show up and sync up with people's internet, so I hope that they remember to refresh the screen if they are trying to watch. I'm not available to tell them to do that, but I hope that's what they're going to be doing. So just a second, and I'm going to start the recording. I see that Teal and Colleen are both here already, and chat is showing up, so that is great to see. That always makes me happy. Maxine is here too. Glad to see you, Maxine. Okay. Oh, Leanne too? Oh boy. Saray, yay! Okay, it's working. There's always a little bit of that concern that it's not necessarily going to show up, so it seems to be working. I'm checking in on the Facebook group right now. I did see I had a message from somebody who was having some access trouble, so I hope, just a second. I'm going to go ahead and reply to her really quick. Sorry about that. Okay, and I see Evelyn is here. So apologies about that little interruption, but I didn't want to leave somebody hanging. So hello, Grace, Evelyn, Liz, Karen. Oh, good. Okay. So welcome to this month's Replenish retreat, honoring Samhain, celebrating Samhain in this deep October season, stepping into the dark part of the year. Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming, making some space on your Saturday to see me. Oh, okay, Hecate Doe is also here. That's who I was trying to reply to tell you where I was. So here we are. Okay, so inviting you to take a nice deep breath. And settle into your body, really calling yourself into this moment. Any concerns or worries about technology or finding your way, letting those soften up and float away on the rhythm of your breath. Another deep breath. And calling your spirit back, presencing yourself here on this land, in this time and this place where you are right now. Okay, welcome everybody and happy Samhain. And this is we do these about 8 times a year. This is an experiment, offering one on Saturday. And I will go ahead and confess from the beginning that Saturday doesn't seem like it's working out very great for me. So I will probably revert to my older scheduling after this experimental one. But this is both an opportunity for us to celebrate the season together in community and draw upon some insight from my little book, Replenish, which was the inspiration for creating these seasonal retreats over this year, celebrating the wheel of the year and taking some time to replenish and renew and connect with one another. So just a reminder that there is a set of printable companion cards for you available on the Replenish Retreat homepage. If you don't have those printed out, that's totally fine. You don't ever need to print them out. And but if you do want them, they're there on the Replenish Retreat homepage, and I find that they're a really nice little companion to have. You can carry them with you. You can put them on your computer. You can review them at night before you go to bed. They're just a little touchstone, a little place to check in. And then there's also a little October Magic booklet that is available to you there on the Replenish Retreat homepage. So if you feel like you'd like to have something to do after this is over, you can feel free to go print it out and work on it. And so those resources are both available for you for free on the Replenished Companion homepage. So we're actually going to go ahead and again, like I said, if you don't have them printed out, no worries, don't run away and try to do it right now. You can get them later or never, whatever works for you. But we're going to go ahead and start with an invocation from the first little card in the deck. Oh, good. Christy is here too. That is great to see you. Kim is here. Dawn is here. Okay. Oh, my mom is here. I don't know if she really is or she just watched for a few minutes, but anyway, hello, Barbara. Okay. So again, with the deep breath, it's always good to come back home. As I always say, we're always invited to come back home. We're always invited to cross the threshold back into our own hearts again and again. So offering this one as an invocation. Settle into your body and allow yourself to feel where you are. Whatever is going on, whatever the weather holds, whatever the land holds, whatever your heart holds, let it be okay. Invite yourself in. So settle into your body and allow yourself to feel where you are. Lift a hand to your heart and feel it beat. Open to love. And then resting your hands against your belly, feeling your breath rise and fall, open to create. And then laying a hand against your forehead and softening up your thoughts, all that spinning that happens in the brain. Let those things soften up for a minute. Open to change. And then one hand to your shoulder and the other hand under your other arm. This can be a really nice way to re-regulate your nervous system if you feel frazzled. Open to grace. And then your hands out and open, palms wide, open to choice. May wisdom bless and guide you. May courage dwell inside you. May Goddess walk beside you. Thank you so much for being here. I see Bridget has made it too. Glad to see you, Bridget. So glad you made it too. Okay, so now we have a little prayer to offer from, I just moved through the little Replenish book and I just started again. This book is structured as a 90-day devotional, and I started at the end of the 90 days. I just started again. I find that helpful for my own morning practice. And so I will just go ahead and start with day 1 again once I hit the end of 90 days. So today I am on day 56. And so that is the little blessing that I would like to offer to you now as we take some time to replenish. Hello, Susan. Glad to see you here too. Okay, this is a good reminder, especially at this time of year. In a world that too often feels crumpled with despair, let us plant our feet, reach out our hands, and lift our voices, believing with everything we have left that no matter how many stories have been told to us about brokenness, we're here anyway, still whole, still whole. So that is, I feel like, an important invitation and reminder to us all that no matter how many stories are told to us about brokenness, we hear it all the time. You know, like we hear it all the time, sometimes from faith traditions, sometimes in environmental contexts, sometimes all kinds of things are repeated about brokenness. And guess what? Like, we're here anyway, and we're still whole, no matter what stories are told about brokenness. So that is a particular reminder that I find very helpful. So thank you to my own self for putting it in the book. Okay. So again, with our, with the pause, that's really is what these retreats are about, is taking a little sacred pause, a little breath of connection, a breath for replenishment and renewal. And now I have a poem that I would like to share with you called The Ritual of Samhain. I wrote this one, I believe, last year. I often find, I've touched on this in a couple of blog posts recently, I have, this time of year is a time of the ancestors, and there's the often repeated thing about the veil is thin and all that kind of stuff. And you can read critical things online sometimes about like veils are always thin, you know, kind of deal. But the point is that kind of the relationships with the ancestors becomes very poignant and powerful at this time of year, the time of year in which the trees are letting go, when the earth is entering a time of quietness and rest, when things are kind of dropping, letting go, releasing, decaying, passing away, that kind of thing. And we have this connection to the ancestors that can start to feel very palpable at this time of year, and acknowledging that we do have members in the Southern Hemisphere as well. So for them, they're in a different season, the season of spring and rebirth and renewal. And so acknowledging you as well. I am so powerfully impacted by my own landscape and what is happening around me that I can't split my mind between multiple hemispheres. I have to just center myself in the landscape. And that's really what I advocate for all of you, is center yourself in your landscape, what your landscape is teaching you. So what do you see in your own north? Not north as associated only with the element of earth, but what's in your north? What's in your south? What's in your east? What's in your west? What do you see in your own land, and what does it have to teach you? And there's a lot to be learned from your own landscape and the elements that are present, the elements and the directions that are present for you in your own holy ground that you walk on. So anyway, small distraction there about that, but the ancestors are very close. Their ancestors are close at this time of year. And in my own life, my last grandparent died in an October, about 7 or 8 years ago. And then my grandfather died in October. And so I associate the ancestors both symbolically with this time of year, but also literally in my own life, having said goodbye to multiple grandparents in Octobers gone by. And so this poem is about that, a ritual of Samhain. So I believe it's from last year. Dream of ancestors, dark eyes and laughing faces, quilt squares and cigar smoke. Rise with raindrops and the gray shrouded sky. Drink tea and watch the trees. Spot a buck nibbling on acorns, antlers brown and branched, shoulders dusted lightly with black fur. Watch him gradually become invisible between the branches and the thorns. Walk beneath a mist of rain. Stop beside grandmother oak with your head tilted back, waiting for a red leaf to fall. Each year, try to catch one that has never touched the ground. Open your hands and reach. Catch the leaf as it twirls towards the earth. Notice it is dotted with raindrops, water and air and earth and stored sunfire, all together in one pointed form. Blow kisses to the tree and say thank you. This tree is what every acorn dreams of being. Hear a hawk and crows having an argument from the trees. Stop and watch until you see the disgruntled hawk soar from between the branches to land in the field, shaking its ruffled tail feathers. Listen to the crows shout and warn and the hawk complain. Walk home. Pause to gather acorn caps from the front yard and to trail your fingers across the pumpkins. After pancakes and trunk or treat, hollow out a pumpkin, add rubbing alcohol and handfuls of herbs, gratitude, rose petals, thyme, holy basil, lemongrass, and raspberry leaf. Light the pumpkin. Call the names of the ancestors and the beloved dead, for those we remember live. Join hands and sing. Walk at night under pinpoints of starlight. Lift your hand in salute to the waning moon. Remain alert to what is, the ceremony taking place outside your door and inside your heart. And that is something that I refer to a lot, which is there's ceremonies, life weaves ceremonies for us every day, or kind of with or without us every day. And it's up to us to open our eyes and see the ceremony that's in progress right now. So the ceremony that's in progress for me right now is that ceremony of letting go. The leaves this morning when we walked, the leaves are just like an autumn snow globe swirling all around. The grasses in the field have turned brown. My hydrangeas got frostbitten, so they are all black and crumbled now. That's the ceremony that's being woven right now in my landscape. And yours might be different, particularly geographic regions. Some people it's still very warm. Some people, the signs of autumn are much subtler. If you live somewhere like Florida, there's changes still that happen in the landscape, but what's happening might be more subtle than the abrupt shift to brown trees and no leaves that I have here in the Midwest. So anyway, the land makes the ceremony for us every single day, and it's up to us to step into it. It's up to us to pay attention and to see the magic that's right there. So I do invite you this season to pay attention to what that ceremony is. Oh yes, Bridget, 80 in Boston last week, and we're switching back and forth. We had 32 degrees and freezing, and then we had 88 again, and then back to 80, and then today has been a little cooler and feels a lot more. I had to wear a sweatshirt, that kind of thing. So it switches kind of erratically back and forth. But I think sometimes it's important to pay attention to that erratic switching, because we might feel that reflected in our own mood. Like I know I switch back and forth between feeling like exhilarated and excited about new ideas and new plans, and then feeling like I want to just like go back and crawl into the cave and take a break from everything. And so maybe it's normal. The land is doing this erratic switching, but maybe our moods and our own bodies are doing some of this switching too. And it's part of that fall fall feeling. Karen says had a windstorm last night and currently 55 in northern Illinois. I do feel like that I always feel reassured, you know, when it gets cold again. When it frosted, I was sad to lose those hydrangeas, but I was also like, thank goodness, like it's supposed to be cold. And it is, can be alarming to actually, you know, live on this changing earth in this changing climate and see how things are different right in front of our faces. And so having the return to frost or the return to cold to me can feel, you know, reassuring or encouraging, or like, this is kind of what, you know, this is what's supposed to happen. This is what I'm expecting to see, not getting sunburned at the pumpkin patch. So that's where we are. Okay, so speaking of those kinds of October feelings and touching into the magic of your own landscape, I'm going to pop on over to our next little card in our card series. And this is, again, about the magic of place and touching into your own landscape. Life is full and minds are busy. And whether we pause to see it or not, the world spins with constant change. Today, there are white clouds hiding the sun, yellow walnut leaves gently dancing through the air. There is the sound of a distant tractor, and there are crows slipping across the sky. There is a bundle of wild rye and dried asters leaning on spotted leaves of wild grapevine, remnants of last week's ceremony. There is sumac going to red and blackberry leaves rust-edged and drooping. What do you see where you are? What magic of place is inviting you into presence? May you take a deep breath, lay a hand on your heart, and return to center again and again. And I've said before, the most powerful magic I know is to look, listen, and feel. To look, listen, and feel. Though that's the most powerful spell I know. That's the most powerful magic I know. So what do you see where you are, and what magic of place is inviting you into it? And that is a ritual of Samhain for you, is what magic of place is inviting you in to presence. What is happening where you are? I have my tea and my water because I need both. Okay. And I encourage you to spend this whole, like the whole next 2 months, or basically the whole year, in inviting yourself into that, to that magic you're in place. That's what, when I wrote Walking with Persephone, that's really what it was all about. I just put up a new video, or a video in the series that I currently have running that's free on Patreon right now, which is about tuning into the magic of place, looking for the things that move, the things that fly, the things that crawl. And so that video's over there on Patreon right now, open to everybody, so you can check that one out. It's a companion. I'll try to remember to put the link with the replay in case you want to watch that video. But really, that I do invite that, like that we are invited into, to tapping into, tuning into, and to living in harmony with that magic of our own place. So then touching into that feelings, those split feelings in that can sometimes happen at this time of year. I referenced that erraticness of feeling excited about new things, and then also like the call to retreat, and it kind of goes, there's kind of an erraticness to that feeling. And so this is a poem. This is the next on the little card series. I wrote this one quite a few years ago, and I just returned to it again and again through the years, because it always feels very true to me. And it was written, some of my poems are written based on these kind of visual experiences. Like I kind of see it happening. So this month, in this month of magic, in this month of Hecate, I really can kind of see this crossroads in my life. And, you know, I've covered a lot about crossroads recently in videos and things like that, but it comes to me when I write the poem, I see the poem unfolding. I see the crossroads, the cauldron, and the cave. And so this particular poem, it's an excerpt from a longer one, but I really saw it unfold. If I squint, I can almost see steam lifting from a cauldron in the forest and smell change drifting through the air. I am looking at the shards of the year, some new broken, some recollected, some shining with possibility. And I feel the call, the urge, the promise to tip them all into that bubbling vat and see what she will steep me into next. So that's also what's happening at this time of year, is you're looking at the shards of the year and discovering what you will be steeped into next. So if you think about your own year, there's things, the shards of the year, some of them just got broken, some of them have been gathered carefully back up from your own life, and some are shining with possibility and invitation and encouragement. And that's like the pieces of our year. We tip them all into the metaphorical cauldron and see what we're steeped into next. So that is a personal favorite of mine because it comes with that visual reminder and encouragement. So again, a little break, a little pause, a little breath. And then I would like to go ahead and read another poem to you, this one from In the Temple of the Ordinary 2. And this month actually happens to be in the Temple of the Ordinary 2. I call this one Toto. My nickname for Temple of the Ordinary is Toto because Temple of the Ordinary. And so I call this one Toto 2 to myself. So I've got Toto 1 and Toto 2. So in Toto 2, we have the soft magic poem that I would like to read to you. It was written in another past October. We walked at dusk under a cloud-heavy sky. We spotted patches of orange light setting the undersides of tall oaks aflame with color. Summoned, we left the road and slipped into the darkening woods, where in the gloaming we encountered 30 wild turkeys settling in to roost. We found white mushrooms neatly knocked off their stems, and we moved quietly over a carpet of brown pine needles to sit still and watching on the stones as the last cloud-covered slice of sunlight descended into the hills. As we slipped back home between the trees, mindful for snakes, the sound of coyotes howling rose wild and mournful from the hollow. And as we emerged onto the road, bats swooped low at eye level. We tucked our chins against the chill and scampered home with the other night things. Near the gate, I found a delicate puff of vulture down, snagged on a stem of golden grass and glowing faintly in the shadows. I carried it home in my cold fingers to slip into my prayer book. So soft it is outside the perception of touch. I feel a rush of love for life, this experience of being here, small and human, hands extended in the darkness, and soft magic all around. Soft magic all around. And interestingly, I didn't realize until I started reading that one that I actually found a puff of vulture down today too in the road. So that poem was actually written probably at least 2 years ago, 2022 probably. But today I found a little puff of vulture down in the road on my morning walk this morning. And it really is vulture down. You know, vultures, you know, I know they eat dead things out of the road, but their down is so soft that you actually don't know that you're holding it. Like if you pinch it in your fingers, you won't actually be able to feel that you're feeling it because it's so soft. And I find that a really beautiful, like kind of incongruity with the eating the dead things, eating the roadkill, and then having this impossibly soft and like gentle underbelly layer that you can't even feel because it's so soft and delicate. So that's my vulture magic moment. There is soft magic all around, even with the vultures. Okay. So lots of readings for you today. That's how I have all the different things I like to share and read. And so I'd like to go ahead and check in with 365 Days of Goddess today too, with the reading for today, which is a very short one. And it is, Christy, it is an amazing contradiction because I think, and I've mentioned that before, I love to watch vultures fly too. I feel like I call them speed skaters of the sky because they look like they're just having fun, you know, they really do. Like they swoop around and you can tell that they're enjoying themselves with the way they fly sometimes. It's not just about looking for stuff to eat, but sometimes it's just about dancing in the air. And so this is a very short one from today's 365 Days of Goddess reading. And it's a good reminder to us. Here there is fresh breeze to fill your chest. Here there is solid earth beneath your feet. Here there is a river moving beneath your skin. Here there is a fire burning in your eyes. Here there is magic both within you and around you. And so that is what I would like to also invite you to consider, as well as what the land is teaching you, but tapping into what is here, tapping into what is here. And that Magic of Place video that I referenced earlier, that will help you tap into what is here. But in many ways, it's about that looking, listening, and feeling, casting that powerful spell, casting that powerful magic of looking, listening, and feeling, seeing what there is to see, hearing what there is to hear, and inhabiting what there is to inhabit. I do also think that at this time of year, in late fall and in the Samhain season, we are invited to think about taking care of ourselves in sync with the season, taking care of ourselves as we descend into winter, as we prepare for some time in the cave, as we ease up and let go, which can be really tricky. Like, it's easy to write, ease up and let go. It's harder to actually do it. It's harder to actually ease up and let go. And so some of the questions I wanted to draw your attention back to some of the questions for October before we close the door on October's practice and open the door into November. But we were in this month of Hecate and magic. And so one of the questions is, where are you sensing magic lately? Where are you sensing magic lately? What's lighting you up? What feels magical and alive and whole and holy for you? And how does it feel to affirm to yourself that your magic is in your own hands? Your magic is in your own hands. That's something that my friends and I say during our in-person circle is like, our magic is right here. It's in our own hands, palm to palm with one another, but also just in what we create, what we write, what we make, what we share. Our magic is in our own hands. And so that's one of the other questions for October is, how does it feel to know that your magic is in your own hands? And then the final question is, how are you preparing for descent into the final part of the year and taking care of yourself in sync with the season? So if this is a season of easing up and letting go, how are you allowing yourself to ease up and let go? This is a quiet time. It's a quieting. The earth is quieting. And so how can you also let yourself be quiet? Let yourself be still and waiting. And steeping. I got to start steeping like way back in August. And then I got to keep steeping all the way till like March. So if you're taking some time to steep, like, how can you actually let yourself have that? How can you actually let yourself have that time to steep? And if you're not like me, if you don't feel like you need time to steep, if you feel like you need companionship and energy and like liveliness, how might you invite in some energy and liveliness and connection and community? What might you plan or what might you do? So just because I feel like becoming still and getting ready to go into the cave and I'm wanting to steep and stew and like brew and consider, your experience might be different. So this is about listening to you and how can you take care of yourself in sync with the season, not how can you do it right or how can you be like somebody else, but how can you take care of yourself in sync with this season? Yes, and Dawn says, even in chaotic moments, just showing up and being in circle, it really is an extreme act of self-care, self-love, and being in connection. So taking just a few moments, and I really do. A life is built in small moments. A life is built in small moments and small decisions. And I mean, I approach a lot of things that way. My work, the school I work, I do with the kids, like my writing practice. It's like, wait a second, I got 15 minutes. Like, I can use this in a way that's nourishing. I can use the 15 minutes in a way that's nourishing instead of like vegging out or instead of rushing to the next task either, but I can use this in some way. And so sometimes with my kids, I'd be like, we got 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and do this writing practice. Or we have 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and listen to a chapter of the audiobook. Or for me, I have 15 minutes. I'm going to go sit outside. I'm going to go check in with my landscape. I'm going to go write a poem. I'm going to check in with my prayer book. But a life is built in those small moments. So that's a great reminder, Dawn, that even in chaotic moments, just showing up. Also, even in chaotic moments, showing up, looking, listening, and feeling and saying, whoa, like this is how I feel right now, is chaotic and scattered and wild. That still is presence. I think sometimes we have this problem or this issue where we think because we don't feel exactly how we want to feel, we're doing something wrong or it doesn't count. noticing that you're feeling chaotic and frazzled still is being present and in devotion to your own life. I'm glad that you were here, Hecate. Have a great time with your family. And I actually do this every week with the Goddess Magic patrons. We do this every week, so on Mondays. But anyway, thanks for being here. Okay, so I'm almost done with our Replenish retreat for today, but I did want to acknowledge that she was going. And extending my energy out too to the people who will join us via replay later. They're welcome here in this circle as well and into this energy of the late fall. But going ahead and closing up with this little pink card from our companion cards, and this is another invitation for you to consider. I'm offering lots of invitations because these practices are not about doing it right. They're not about doing it right. They're not about being perfect. They're not about fixing yourself even. They're just about returning. They're about remembering, reclamation, and return. And so this card is about my plan for myself. My plan for myself includes sunshine and the moon, long walks, and plenty of delight. It includes brave acts of creativity and radical acts of joy. My plan includes space for the sacred and for myself at the center of my own wild and wondrous life. So that invitation to you is, as we descend, as you remember that your magic is in your own hands, may you also consider what your plan for yourself is. And may your plan for yourself include sunshine and the moon. May it include time, tea, touch, and tenderness. May it include long walks and plenty of delight, if those are the things that fill you up. Okay. So I have two more things to close us up with. So we're already at 3:30. It's amazing by how fast the time goes sometimes. But I have one more Samhain poem for you. This one's from last year as well. And then a closing reading from the final card. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up this month's Replenish retreat. Today I sat and let both my breath and my thoughts be soft, extending my hands and feeling my life and mind unclench, if only for these moments. On Samhain morning, we saw a buck in the road, trees still clad in autumn color lit gold behind him as he stood at the crossroads before leaping away between the trees. On Samhain evening, we saw 5 bucks in the road, young males teaming up for this season of seeking and claiming. On the drive home, an orange moon was on the rise, cresting dark trees and peeking between the hills like something out of mystery. I lifted my hand and blew it a kiss in this, my own solitary rite of Samhain. On the 1st of November, I sat with my memories, naming off my most recent ancestors, each face briefly coming to mind as I felt grateful for the oldest child privilege of knowing each of them in the flesh and carrying the memory deep inside me of how my birth was celebrated by so many loving people now lost. We've had 2 frosts, the hydrangea leaves wilted to black, the mulberry trees bare, and so we seek the pines once more, watching the sinking sun illuminate the needles and listening to the wind whisper in the way it does only through tall pines. I feel my inner cauldron bubbling, new ideas popping up and beginning to rise, but I stop and listen. Now is not the time for production. It is time for pine whispers and slow mornings, time for tea and quiet reflection, time to be curious about what yet might arise, and yet patient as it steeps. Patient as it steeps. So that is the closing reminder to you to be patient as it steeps. And the very last little closing reading before we're really done is this. And so you may invite yourself in. So this is really the last one. So inviting yourself to settle in and perhaps put your hands against your heart, taking a deep breath, tapping into what is beginning to steep. What is beginning to steep? What needs time and tea and touch and tenderness? Inviting yourself to settle, inviting yourself to soften, inviting yourself to replenish and renew. And here's our closing prayer. May we embrace the cycles of life, releasing the need to finish. We tumble with the turning, knowing this is where we belong. We pause and attune ourselves with the rhythms of the earth, finding peace in the present moment. May we live in harmony with the wild and wise unfolding all around us. May we live in harmony with the wild and wise unfolding all around us. So on that note, we have come to the end of our time together. And like I mentioned briefly, I do invite you, I've got a free series going on Patreon right now. So lots of the people who are here right now are already members of the Patreon community. But if you are not, there's a free series on claiming your magic going on there right now, as well as the magic of daily practice. So you can pop on over to patreon.com/goddessmagic and join for free and get access to both of those series. And then also we do a live for members, we do a live community practice every Monday in the patron-only Facebook group. So we share practices and readings and experiences like this every week on Monday. So if you're interested in more of that kind of support, you can pop on over and join us there. So thank you so much for being here. Happy Samhain, everybody. May you steep in the magic of this season. Thank you, Liz and Grace and Amanda and Teal, Leanne, Dawn. So glad you were here. Saray, thank you so much for sharing space with me today. Happy weekend. Happy Samhain. Happy October, almost November. Thank you, Christy. I'm glad it was nourishing to you. And Maxine, thank you too. Dawn, yes, thank you. Okay, everybody, thanks so much. Kim, okay, glad to get to say goodbye to you. Colleen, so good. Have a wonderful week. And thank you, Karen. Have a happy Samhain. Thank you, Bridget. Glad you got to come, even though I know you're rushing off to another event. That's so good. I have a Halloween party to go to in a minute too, so I know the feeling. Thank you, Evelyn. Thanks, Karen. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Happy Samhain. Keep living your magic. See you later.